Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 53 of Sights on Sinnoh. Joining me this week is Karina, also known as Pengumon. How's it going?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Yeah, it's been a week. It's like change of seasons as we get through the middle of this season of Diamond and Pearl Battle Dimension, covering episodes 36 and 37. This is an interesting pair of episodes based on where we are in the story, following Ash, Dawn, and Brock as they travel through Sinnoh. And did you feel that kind of change in the story as we started off these episodes?
Yeah, I will confess I didn't watch I think 2 or 3 episodes before this one, but I read the summaries, and I feel like I feel like a lot of people often complain that like a lot of these seasons at least are kind of fillery and they like don't move the story along, and I feel like that argument could maybe be made of like this detour where they suddenly show up to like the summer school, but I actually spoiler alert, I actually really enjoyed these 2 episodes, and I really liked the change of pace that it brought with it.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah, I mean, just for some context, before this, they were on their way to Celestic Town. They ran into some Psyduck, and Dawn was very explicit in saying, "We're going to be late for the Celestic Town contest." And then the following episode, they're like, "Oh, we're going to go to this Pokemon camp and spend a week here." So, a little strange in terms of where they placed this arc, because it is a 4-episode arc, just as a heads up here. And as far as I'm aware, historically, this is specifically a kind of filler episode as the team kind of catches up with everything else that's going to go on in the season. That's why it's kind of on its own. The new Pokemon introductions are pretty limited, which kind of is reflected in what we see, especially in this first episode. But yeah, that's a lot of kind of what's going on here. So let's talk about the episode itself, which is called Camping It Up. Ash and his friends are just in time for the Pokemon Summer Academy at Professor Rowan's research facility on Mount Coronet, where young trainers have gathered to make new friends and learn about Pokemon. So, right off the bat, they're already late. I remember watching this as a kid and being like, where did this come from? Because as you said, it's like a kind of change of pace. Out of nowhere, like they never really referenced this before or after, but we do meet some familiar characters. And
Yeah, Professor Rowan came back and he showed up, and I was honestly like, wait, which one is this again? Because like it's been so long since we've heard anything about Professor Rowan, which I feel like we discussed like last time I was on or something. But literally, like he showed up and I was like, this one's not Oak. Which one is he? And they were like, Professor Rowan, and I was like, oh yeah, he exists.
That one, right? He's like, yeah, I have this camp here. Apparently, this is where I've been spending all my time, I guess. But last time, as you mentioned, we talked about talking to Professor Rowan, but we never did. Gary, we meet on the way, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you guys talked to Professor Rowan, and he talked to me. So I'm going to Lake Verity to find this legendary that you guys saw supposedly." But yeah, like he's back in person for the first time in forever. What do you think about Professor Rowan running a camp like this?
I don't know. I'm not gonna read too much into it. I think it's like nice that we have the professor back, and I like sure he's running a camp and it's gonna happen now. Like at this point, I think I've given up on trying to search for any like continuity between these episodes, and just like the pacing is just I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna expect the pacing to be absolutely bonkers, and whatever happens and when it happens, like sure, that's fine. Lay it on me.
Just going with it for sure. Another returning character is Conway.
Okay, I have complaints about Conway in these 2 episodes, but we see Conway again, and the first thing we see is that like evil glasses twinkle shine thing again. He's a very confusing character.
I think you declare that he might be the villain of the season secretly.
Yeah, 100%.
And he does some questionable things here as we get to the second episode in particular. We also find Jesse has infiltrated the school and is Jesselinda, leader of the green team, because apparently everyone is divided into teams here at the school. This all formed right before Ash and everyone got here, supposedly. The rest of Team Rocket is the janitorial staff and the kitchen staff, apparently. Like,
They're
they're
maintenance engineers.
yeah. Oh, there you go. Okay. But they also cook, so I don't know.
I don't know, man.
They're they have a very dense job description, I'll say. They're here supposedly to steal Pokemon that the school has in store. Immediately, that's like the premise, but they don't really do much. Because Professor Rowan actually brings out a bunch of Pokemon and says, "Hey, for this week, we're going to get you guys to mingle with each other, learn from each other, and also meet new Pokemon." So everyone is given a Pokemon for the week. Now,
Yeah, I don't know if this is just me being like totally dumb, but I did not make the connection that there were Pokemon in the Pokeballs when he first brought out the box. And he's like, "Look at these Pokeballs." I'm like, "Great. Are we gonna catch some more Pokemon? Like, what's happening here?" And then it like took me a solid second to be like, "Oh no, there are Pokemon in the Pokeballs, and we're gonna play with them."
exactly, yeah, these are prepared, these are pre-filled, you might say. As Ash goes to grab one, he grabs the Pokeball at the same time as someone else who we discover is called Angie, and they start like tug of warring for this poor Pokeball.
Yeah, and I did not like this moment because
Uh-huh.
they're like tug of warring on this Pokeball, and Angie goes, haven't you ever heard of the rule ladies first? And Ash like
Mhm.
immediately lets go of the ball and is like, "Oh my gosh, you're a girl." And I was like,
Yeah.
was this moment necessary? Like did we have to play this card? But was not a fan of that moment.
Yeah, it's just like, why? Like, this whole like first half of the episode kind of continues with this theme between and this new character and Ash's relationship. I'm definitely not a fan of it. I think we could have done without it for a number of reasons.
Yeah, I just said that I liked the contrast that this episode kind of had to a lot of the tone of the
Mm.
previous episodes, which I don't know, you could read it as a good thing or a bad thing. But one thing
Mhm.
I did not like what necessarily was yeah, like this rivalry between Ash and Angie, and in particular like thinking about the rivalry between Ash and Paul and like how this contrasts with it. It's like I don't hate Angie as much as I hate Paul, but also it's just like a very weird counterpoint where like Paul is this very like I would argue he's like maybe not appropriate for a kids show because he's like clearly very abusive and like just overall horrible and like not in a good way. He's just like straight up trash. And like yeah, is like abusive. Whereas like this rivalry with Angie is like very childlike, like
Yeah.
much more childlike than like any relationship we've seen between two characters. And it's like, did we just regress in age like 5 years? Is that what's happening right now?
Right. Like, they start acting way younger than we've seen them. Just like at least Ash in particular. But yeah, this new character is called Angie, and she gets to keep the ball, which has a Monferno in it. And this is the debut of that Pokemon in the anime. So Ash, of course, brings out the Pokedex, learns it evolves from a Chimchar, and that bounces off ceilings and walls, which we'll see a little bit of later. And this is like Charmeleon 2.0, basically, for Angie.
Yeah. Is this really the first time we've seen Monferno?
Yes.
I was so prepared like a few episodes ago with that battle with Paul where like Chimchar went bonkers. I was so prepared for that to be
Mm.
Chimchar's evolution, but he didn't. He just was mad.
Yeah, I do think it's weird that we see a non-main character have that evolution and like not be a gym leader or something. Especially because we have that Pokemon on the team now. So, weird choice, but I don't know. They give her Monferno for some reason. Ash, on the other hand, gets his own strange evolution in the form of Raichu.
Really like this Raichu. This Raichu is so cute. I like him a lot. But I was wondering, like, how did they
Mhm.
decide which Pokemon are gonna go into these Pokeballs for this training school? And I'm like, I wonder if these are like
Mhm.
not problem Pokemon, but like Pokemon, but
Mm.
like you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Pokemon that also like need to work on things. And I'm like, maybe that's the whole thing is it's like trainers who need to work on
Mhm.
things and Pokemon that need to work on things, and this Raichu just like needs to be drawn out of its Pokeball. And anyway, I like this Raichu a lot. It's very cute.
Yeah, it's very easily startled as Ash tries to like meet it and it digs underground to hide. That's gonna be Ash's kind of challenge, I guess, with this new Pokemon. I feel like this is gonna be the most time we ever see Ash with a Raichu, since as far as I know, Pikachu's never going to evolve. So I thought that was an interesting choice to give him that. Then we see Dawn's Pokemon, which is a Grimer.
Yeah, and we get a real good shot of Piplup stuck
Muck.
in inside of Grimer. He's
Yeah.
sticking out of Grimer's head with his little penguin booty sticking out of his head, and I was like,
Oh man.
I don't know how I feel about this, but
Yeah.
that was a moment.
It was kind of disturbing for sure. She, may, Dawn is able to get it out. I'm like, oh, no. Like, think about how Piplup's gonna smell for the rest of its life now.
Yeah, and
But
I feel like Grimer was like obviously a very purposeful choice for Dawn because she like cares a lot about like being pretty and cute and
mm,
all of those things. And I'm glad that they went with the direction of like Dawn loving Grimer and them having a great relationship, because I could totally see them going the other way and Dawn being like super disappointed that she has this ugly trash Pokemon. But she's
yeah.
immediately like, oh, like you're pretty cute, and Grimer like loves Dawn. So I liked that dynamic.
Yeah, it's a nice little twist for Dawn, who like it's all about the contest and the glamour, and Grimer is immediately like kind of sad by its reaction of everyone when it comes out of its ball, but she's like, "Oh, I can cheer you up," and like, I appreciate you for who you are, Grimer, which is awesome. Then Brock gets a Magnemite. It's it's a Magnemite, like.
That pretty much sums up Brock and Magnemite over these two episodes. Like, that's pretty much all there is to say about it.
Basically, he does one neat thing in a second, but in general, it's a pretty plain relationship. We see people with like Dodrio, Scissor, Mightyena, Crocodile, and Ash still trying to like get Raichu to come out of its hole, both literally and figuratively. Angie's chasing down her Monferno, who just beelines it to Crocodile and starts to pick a battle until Pikachu decides to intervene.
Yeah, because they like burn Pikachu. Like Pikachu gets caught in the middle, so Pikachu like
Mhm.
freaks out.
Yeah,
Understandably so.
exactly. It gets hit by an ember and is just furious, so it shocks both the Monferno and Krokna. And Angie's like, "Hey, you can't treat my Monferno like that. I'll show you with my Pokemon." And we get a Shinx that she owns.
Finally! I've been waiting for this.
Right? It's like it only took 4 badges and the weird Jubilife episode for
Yeah,
this to
we're what,
happen.
like 80 episodes into Sinnoh, and we
Yeah.
finally get a main-ish character with a Shinx.
We haven't even gotten a Luxio. Like, we got a Luxray, we got that weird Shinx cameo, and yeah, here it is. Um, she hasn't used Spark, Pikachu uses Thunderbolt, and immediately Professor Rowan just like, enough!
I agree with Professor Rowan.
Yeah, he's like, get it together. Like, what is wrong with you? You can't use your own Pokemon for the battle, and you guys are gonna battle later. Like, he's like, this isn't the time. Like, you're just meeting your Pokemon now, but you'll get to battle officially at a later time. So he's like, yeah, that's the first hour. So everyone go to the classroom, and you have to earn points in like I guess the tournament. Like they're gonna have like a little battle session or something later, basically. But yeah, that's where everyone explains what points are about. So apparently apparently that whole points explanation happened like right before our heroes got here because Angie, Conway are the ones who explained it all to them. I think everyone's on the red team from our heroes along with Angie. They go into the classroom and Dawn is like, well, the teacher says, get to know your Pokemon, and Dawn brings out some Poffins. I assuming she just had them ready, but I think she says like, "Oh, I just made these." So I don't know if they had enough time to go and cook them or something. But that's a pretty easy one for Dawn to just bond with Grimer.
And Grimer eating the Poffins is pretty cute. Grimer is overall very cute in these 2 episodes. I'm a fan.
Yeah, it's really nice because in the previous episode we had a bunch of muck, and that they were not very cute. So Grimer's kind of redeeming them here. It's evolutionary family. And then we see Brock do a neat little thing, and like the only neat thing with this Magnemite, which is feed it static electricity.
Yeah, that was weird.
Well, how do you think Magnemite eats? Like, or was that just not something that came to mind?
Not something that came to mind, but also, like, it's fine. It was weird. And then he, like, did a little twirl and shine and made Magnemite shiny or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was just
fine.
like I kind of liked it because it shows that Brock knows how to operate with Pokemon that aren't just like animals. Like he can, as a breeder, know what to do to get along and make someone happy, make a Pokemon happy if it's like inorganic, like this Magnemite.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
yeah, and then Monferno and Croconaw are not having a good time as Angie tries to separate them again. And then Ash pulls out his Pokédex to learn the moves of this Raichu, which are Focus Punch, Dig, Thunderbolt, and Double Team. And he gets super excited about Double Team for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah, it's like, okay, whatever.
I don't know.
You just had...
I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of these episodes where there being like slightly weird things happening and me being like, it's fine. I like it. It's fine.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
go with
It's
it.
like, it's a struggle because they don't, I don't know, it's just, they don't want a lot to happen, I think, here, since these 4 episodes are kind of especially made to fill up a season. Dawn learns Grimer's moves, and nothing special there, really. He does hug her, though, so that's another cute moment. She tries to oil up Grimer to make it shiny, but it kind of goes wrong as her hand gets stuck inside the Grimer.
Yeah, not a fan of things going into Grimer. That's weird.
Yeah, I think they should work on that a bit. Yeah, it's okay. So this whole episode has a ton of moments where it's just like sound over still images.
Yeah, like
And
I think that's another part of it just like feeling very different than everything we've seen so far.
mhm,
Like a lot of kind of montages almost. I don't know.
mhm.
I could see people like really not liking these 2 episodes because they are quite fillery, but I like I said, I liked it and I liked like the different kind of style and just like different pace and different stuff happening.
Yeah, like it doesn't you don't need to really look at anything else outside of these episodes to see what's going on. Like no one really uses any of their main Pokemon, so you kind of just learn these relationships, which is nice. At this point, Angie again they're forcing this whole rivalry thing. So Angie and Ash get in trouble for almost fighting. So they go and like run laps, I guess. And Angie's whole thing is like like when Ash says who says like says me or something. That's the whole relationship at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, like very juvenile.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good word for it. They finally get back and eat, and at this
Okay, wait,
point,
wait, wait. But
yeah,
first, when Dawn was trying to polish Grimer, is that when she's also showing Grimer the poses?
that's right
'Cause
after.
oh,
Yeah, do you want
okay.
to talk about the poses?
It's just another very cute moment where Dawn
Yes.
is like, "Where I'm gonna like show you some cool contest poses, Grimer. Like, do
Hmm.
what I do," and she like strikes a pose, and Grimer also strikes all of the poses, and it's very
Yeah,
cute.
it's great because Grimer can stretch, so he can like look naturally copying Dawn, not like Piplup or something, who doesn't have
Yeah.
fingers or anything. So yeah, neat little moment showing Grimer can do some unique things. And then later on, everyone's eating, and Angie and Ash immediately just start getting along at this point. Angie apparently is in their room also, so I don't know if they decided that together or something.
But you know
But
who's not assigned to their room is Conway.
yes, Conway appears in the doorway and he's like, "Hey, I would like to partner with Dawn since you guys are planning on playing cards." And Dawn's immediately like, "This isn't even your room."
And then Conway just runs away, and it's like, well, that was weird and creepy.
Yeah, and he's like, "All right, get out of here." Did you see what was on the cards that they were playing?
What was on the cards?
It was for like the queen, king, and all those. It was a Krogunk.
Oh, of course it was.
I was like, what is this Pokemon? I thought it was like Mr. Mime at first, but nope, it's just Krogan hiding in the playing cards. Angie works at a daycare, and she does want to go on her own journey like everyone else here, but that's what she does apparently. She's just busy with that, and then I don't know, like that's kind of it. The teacher comes in and is like, "Hey, I said lights out," so they panic and get back in bed. Next day, Ash is just training with Raichu and trying to get it to like be more confident in its power, which it does. Like everything just happens. Like this is the thing about these two episodes. Like everything is just like expected and comes to fruition.
Yeah, they just like because I feel like most episodes are like moving one character story along, right? And like focusing on one particular relationship. And these two episodes are just like they just want to show you like all of these Pokemon and all of the people who are like playing with all the Pokemon, and it like doesn't ever really focus on well, kind of at like the end of the next episode, but it like never really focuses on like building or developing any particular relationship. It kind of just seems like it is very filler, just like throw in a bunch of like Gen 1 Pokemon that people will recognize and like show them doing cute things and just call it a day. Which like I'm okay with.
Right. And that was another note I made. It's like all of Ash's friends got Gen 1 Pokemon and Angie got the Monferno, so that's why I was like, what? Like, come on, give someone else the Monferno. That's the new toy that we haven't seen on the block. Ash and Angie meet up and they're like, yeah, like we figured out our relationship, so now we're gonna get along. And I'm like, all right, cool. We cut later to the afternoon where the battles start, and none of these are super eventful. Brock beats Jessie kind of because she gets in the way of Magnemite's attacks, and
Yes,
she has a
because
Smoochum.
she's paired with a Smoochum, and Smoochum is too cute to battle, so
In her defense, fair. Like Smoochum is a cutie. Not Jinx, however. Sorry, Brady. We don't really see much of Brock, which is unfortunate. Like, if all the, like, at least give me that this filler episode, I guess. Then we see Dawn versus Conway, which does have a few interesting beats to it.
yeah. Who does Conway have again? I
Oh
was like
yeah,
so distracted by Conway being weird that I wasn't paying attention to what he was actually doing.
yeah. Conway has a Venonat.
Oh yeah, he's like explaining to Venonat what an equation is.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's great. You're trying to explain math to this Pokemon.
I was like, oh, poor Venonat. He's like looking around, like Grimer's getting Poffins, like Magnemite's getting a shine, and he's sitting here doing freaking math with his trainer.
Conway's like, we're in a classroom and we're gonna act like it, okay?
Yep.
But she sends out Grimer in a Pokeball that's inside of a little seal case, basically. I forget the exact word for it, but
Ball capsule, right?
ball capsule. Yes, thank you.
And she goes, Spotlight, Grimer! And everyone's like, this is not a contest. And she's like, I don't care.
Yeah, I was like, go for it. Like, I want to see more of those ball capsules outside of contests. Like, this is neat. This is neat. And also helps you bond with Grimer, probably. So, good job, Dawn. But yeah, as you said, Conway is like, this isn't a contest. And she's like, yeah, so what? We're just getting pumped up. Battle begins with Sludge, and Venonat just sends it back with Psychic, and everyone comments like, oh, Conway's good. Like, he taught Venonat how to use Psychic pretty effectively already. And then Dawn tries again with the Sludge, but this time uses poison gas when Venonat sends the sludge bomb back at it. And Venonat gets damaged somehow, but I don't really understand how.
I didn't really get it either. She did something
Yeah.
like with the gas and aimed it at the sludge, and something happened, and it was
It's-
like, ooh.
And Venonat's just floating there also, which I was like, why are you flying, buddy?
This poor Venonat like has to sit and learn math, and then it has to battle a pile of toxic sludge. Like poor Venonat.
Oof. Yeah, I like Venonat actually. So yeah, I definitely feel bad for it. It tries to use stun spore, but Grimer blocks it by using poison gas and spinning. So it's like, oh, okay, that's a neat little defense tactic, I guess.
Yep, Dawn really loves her spinny things.
Yeah, like any Pokemon, can you spin? All right, let's do it. And then we get more montages of it, and then Dawn and Conway shake hands, and everyone loves Dawn. So that's it. Like that's kind of it. Like we don't really see where the battle goes from there. But I was like, okay, good. I'm glad we see at some point that she battles Conway.
Why were you glad that she battled Conway?
Because I'm like, I want Dawn to at least confront him in some way. Because he is so creepy most of the time. And like it also is an opportunity. I don't think they did it necessarily all the way for her to show like she can be smarter than Conway, even though that's like his pride and joy is his intelligence.
Okay, yeah, that's her.
And then we just get another montage of all these other Pokemon. There's a Rattata fighting a Scizor. I think we all know what happens there.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
And then it's finally Ash versus Angie, of course. So Monferno versus Raichu. Raichu using Dig, Monferno going in with Flame Wheel and Ember. And they get to use all their moves, which is kind of nice. Like Monferno goes in for a Fury Swipes, and this is where we get the excited double team that Ash was pumped up about.
Oh yeah, all building up to this moment.
Exactly. That's the whole crux of this episode. But yeah, it's an okay battle. It's just like a fun time between these two new Pokemon. Ash using a Raichu for like probably the first and last time, I want to say.
Probably. Although I will say that while all these battles are happening, there's this amazing epic banjo battle music happening in the background.
Oh my god! Okay,
I really enjoyed.
This music was used randomly in the Yen Mega episode, and I was like, "What is happening?" Like it feels so out of place. But here's like, all right, sure, go crazy. It works.
Yeah. I also remembered the Yan Mega episode, and I was like, I guess this like banjo country music is a thing now, and I'm here for it. This is hype. Great.
Yeah, this is it now. This is Sinnoh. And then the battle pretty much concludes with a Fury Swipes and Focus Punch face off. Well, followed by like Thunderbolt and Ember, because of course we need like big explosions. And the referee's like, time's up, you guys battled well. And then we get to the point section, which is just like Rowan's like, oh, which team is in the lead, which team is in last place. Dawn actually won the most points. So I was like, oh, maybe there was a contest element to this. But Conway's team is in the lead with blue. Jesse's in second place on green, and last place is red team. Even though because Dawn won all these points, Angie and Ash basically like let down the rest of the team because they fell asleep in class. They were fighting each other, so it's just like a disaster for them. Like get them out of this team, basically.
Wait, is this when they did the tally? I thought it was at the end of the next episode, but I don't know. It's all blurred together in my mind.
Yeah, I think they do one each day.
Okay.
I don't know. It's not super clear, but they they go from like mad to upset to embarrassed to like, all right, we'll just do better next time. And then everyone goes running off to dinner, and we get this end card of everyone just like, yeah, summer camp, I guess. It for this first part of the Summer Academy arc. So, camping it up 36. What are your thoughts?
I think I would give this episode I think I would give it an 8. Like I
Really?
very much
Okay.
enjoyed it. Like nothing happened. It was very fillery. I could see people being very annoyed by like nothing happening, but I was like
Mm,
very happy to like sit there and sip my tea and watch Gen 1 Pokemon do cute things and
mhm.
everyone behaved like 6-year-old. Also, I thought it was really weird that like
Mhm.
Brock was also like regressed. Like I think at one point
Mm,
when like Rowan yells for everyone to go inside and Brock is like, "Oh my gosh," and like runs inside with the rest of them and I'm like, this dude
mhm,
was like a gym leader. Like what is
mm.
what is he do? But anyway, I digress. Anyway, I like
Sure.
this episode despite the ridiculousness. I just like sat back and was like, I'm going to accept this and enjoy it, and I did.
Yeah, that's fair. It's refreshing. The characters are kind of simplified a bit, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I just feel like there's just that unnecessary conflict for the first 10 minutes with Angie and Ash that kind of brings it down for me. So I'll probably give it a 6. It's still like a fair, okay episode to me. Um, and we'll see how this arc continues, of course. So those are our thoughts for Battle Dimension episode 36. So let's move on to the next one, which is 37 Up Close and Personable. It's the third day of Professor Rowan's Pokemon Summer Academy, and he sent the campers to observe water-type Pokemon living in it. Pretty much living, like starting off where we left off. Um, they're at the lake. They're all just sitting there as the professor and his aides are kind of explaining everything to them. And they're like, yeah, you should go and draw these Pokemon, and then at the end of the day, you'll give a presentation. So, honestly, like, not a bad assignment for living in the Pokemon world.
Yeah, you get to go and swim with Pokemon. It seems great.
Hmm. Exactly. And okay, this is the most diverse lake of Pokemon I've ever seen.
It's pretty
Like,
sweet.
yeah, there's like, I don't know, 20 plus species in this one area, which is interesting.
Yeah, fast forward a sec to when Jessie like has her little minions who she has like gotten to do everything for her,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Get me something beautiful, like a Suicune or
Uh-huh.
like a Manaphy," and they're
Right?
like, "We don't think there's a Suicune or a Manaphy in this lake," and I'm like, I would not be surprised. Like we already have seen one random Suicune in a lake. Like
Yeah.
who's to say there isn't another one here?
Right? This would have been the payoff of that, like, awful episode. It's
That
like,
would have been so good if the Suicune came back just for that.
yeah, well, missed opportunity for sure. But yeah, everyone's going to draw these Pokemon. There's like Wooper, Huntail, Krabby, Poliwag, Tentacool, Horsey, to name a few. They go walking off on their own and find these lantern, like, boat things. I don't know what they're called exactly, but they're basically things that tourists use at waterfronts, and you just
Like the
pedal
pedally
along.
things, yeah, like pedal
Yeah,
boats. I don't know.
that might be it. Yeah, pedal boats, I think. And they're like, "Hey, let's get in there so we can get closer to the Pokemon that are just in the middle of the water, I guess." When suddenly a light in the distance starts shining, and Ash is like, "Oh, what's that?" And Pikachu, I'm guessing you saw this too with the closed captions, entranced, starts walking towards it.
Yep.
And as it gets to the edge of the water, Ash just like goes over to Pikachu and shakes it a little and is like, "Oh, what was that? Okay." Um, and he doesn't really know what was happening, but that's just setting up what's going to happen later. What did you have any idea what that light might be?
Okay, I was gonna say this at the end, but like, why was it not the last lake spirit that we haven't seen? Like, why was it spoiler? Why was it just like a dumb little Luminion that like had this
Yeah.
crazy trance-inducing whatever, had a legend about it and everything? Like I assumed it was
Mm.
gonna be a legendary Pokemon, and unless they're gonna reveal it later, like it wasn't, which I was like, well, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, for the last two, they have tried to make it geographically sound in terms of where they place those sightings. Like with Dawn, it was at Lake Valor, which is right outside Twin Leaf and Sandgem, and then Lake Valor. Was that Verity? You know, I think that was Lake Verity. Yeah, and then Lake Valor is where Ash was down by Pastoria City. So maybe we're just too far. Like I could have seen them doing that if we were closer to the snowy area of Lake Acuity for sure. But Yeah, I that would have made this episode more special for sure.
I forget about the lore and the things. I'm like, okay, fine. I will accept that they were not in the geographical location for the legendary. But also, it's like, I feel like there was
Mhm.
too much like mysticism and like legend
Mm.
surrounding it for it to just be like a frilly fish.
That's true. They did really write out the suspense of what this Pokemon was, or the light of this, the source of this light. To say, Angie and Ash jump on one boat, and then Dawn and Brock take the other one. So immediately, 1,000 ships of these two characters were formed instantly. We also see, as you mentioned before, Jessie with her minions and her little boat, and she's got like desserts and an umbrella. And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty nice actually. I wouldn't mind that. Just like eating some sweets on the water.
Yep, she's living her best life as Jessa Linda? Question
Yes.
mark.
Yeah, that's her persona for this arc, Jesselinda. Meanwhile, Team Rocket is fixing this bench that's broken using hammers. I'm not sure what the plan is here, but they're like, all right, let's just do our jobs. Then we see I think a seal, Poliwag, and the Pokemon that they're going to draw are a Celio and a Dugong, with Ash getting the Dugong and Angie getting the Celio. And just as Dawn's pulling out the Pokédex to like learn about some other Pokemon, we get Conway.
Who is now a human Pokedex.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of neat, but also like just let the Pokédex do his job, buddy.
I don't know, man. The Pokedex is annoying enough without like adding this creepy Conway layer onto it. I was not a fan.
Right, and like the Pokédex, why would the Pokédex know to stop if the Conway starts talking? Like you could still have your little moment, I guess. But yeah, he talks about the Gorbis, which we see in the lake, and I was like, oh, that's cool. We didn't really see much of this Pokemon, and it makes sense that Dawn might like it as a contest coordinator. And then Brock decides to focus on the Chinchou. But after a while, they're like, we aren't really getting a good idea of what these Pokemon look like and feel like in our drawings. So let's jump in the water. And
You get to swim with Pokemon.
yeah, this is fun. Everyone is just like in their summer wear and like just going along with all these Pokemon. And then
There is another
yeah,
creepy moment where
yeah.
like Dawn is swimming with the Gorbis, and then it like cuts to Conway, who has been like is underwater and just like creeping on Dawn in her swimsuit, and
Yeah,
it's like, this is icky. This is icky.
that's like one of the worst parts for sure. So just be warned that is a really weird moment there. Conway's just like creeping underneath them, with his oxygenizer thing, I guess. Which just adds a whole layer to it. I think is he wearing glasses underwater also?
I think he is. I didn't even think about that, but I'm pretty sure he was.
Oh, there you go.
All the better to see Dawn with.
Yeah, oh, jeez. Oh, you're not making this better. But yeah, what do you think about Gorbis? Any thoughts there?
I like wasn't looking that closely, but isn't Gorbis supposed to be a fish in a bra? And I like saw the undershot from it, and that bra was like on the lower half of the body, and I was like, this seems wrong. I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah,
Gorbis is a weird Pokemon.
it is. Yeah, that's fair. But we have a weird moment happening as they get back on shore, and Shinx spots that same light we saw earlier and just starts walking towards it in a trance. And as everyone's getting ready to get going, they can't find her Shinx. And Angie's like, I don't know where it went. It was just here. It's missing. And no one can figure out what's happening until Piplup gets entranced by the light.
Yeah, and then but so like so far every time a Pokemon has been like
Mhm.
entranced, their trainer notices immediately and like stops them, but I guess nobody noticed Shinx, and Shinx walked away.
Angie bad trainer confirmed.
Yep.
But Ash also shows that he has a memory this episode, which is nice. And he's like, oh, that happened earlier today. And he explains how he like woke up Pikachu. Conway then jumps in to do like the one useful thing, I guess, this episode, which is talk about the legend of the lake and how it might be true. The legend, is this something that also keyed you into maybe it was a legendary Pokemon?
Yeah, I think that was the big part of it. Like, just like the power to like entrance a Pokemon. Like, okay, I guess it makes sense to have like a one of those like lighty uppy lurefish, like whatever, fine. But the whole like he like went into depth about this legend about the thing with this like mysterious light, and so it's like, what would there really be like such lore about a Luminion? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, especially because later they talk about it and they're like, why is this here? And like very clearly it seems like a recent thing. So it's a flimsy thing. Hey, maybe he's lying. Maybe this is a whole scheme that Conway's planning.
No, but at the end, Rowan is like, "Oh, it's like the legend." So
That's true. Oh, they're all in on it. Oh man. But they go and follow the light. Follow the light. And Conway kind of directs them towards where to go. So I don't know how he's getting this information. Eventually, they reach a cave, and they're like, "Ooh, what do we do here?" And it suddenly gets cloudy and rainy. And Conway's like, "Don't worry, I'll lead the way." And then runs inside as soon as thunder comes down because he gets scared.
A plus Conway.
Truly the man of the hour here. But they get inside the cave and just watch the rain for some reason. I'm like, just go inside. Like, you were going this way. It's not like you're gonna go back out before you figure out where the Shinx is. At the end of the tunnel, they see that luminescent blue light coming towards them. They walk all the way there and see a under like a cavern with water, basically. And the light coming from the water below. Pikachu covers its eyes really cutely. Piplup just does it. Piplup is like, oh, I'm just gonna look at this light.
I don't know. I can see both sides.
Yeah, I was like, they've been fine the last like 3 times this has happened, so it's okay. And there's a suspenseful wait as we see Luminion like come towards them because you don't really know what it is until it just jumps out of the water. And Ash pulls out the Pokédex where we learn. Oh, not Ash, actually. It's Dawn that pulls out the Pokédex. But
of course, it's Dawn that pulls out the Pokédex. Why are we surprised?
Hey, oh, okay, that's fair. And then Conway, of course, interrupts. Is like, Luminion, the neon Pokemon. It lies in the ocean's depths and lures Pokemon by flashing light. And it looks like a pretty Pokemon, I'll say.
Yeah, it looks nice. I was still so ready for this to be like, ooh, like red herring. It's actually going to be something way cooler. But no, it was Illuminion.
Yeah, it's the introduction of this Pokemon for the show. I guess it gets more attention than some other introductions. And it's kind of nice, I guess, for it to not be the main focus, technically, of like, oh, we meet this Pokemon, we have to help it or something. But then we find Shinx, who's just chilling behind a rock, still like hypnotized, I guess. And Brock brings up the idea of like, hey, this Luminion is kind of special because it's supposed to be in the ocean, not a lake. So
yeah, lake spirits live in lakes.
Brock's like, hey, you guys have both seen lake spirits, but not me. What the heck? What's going on here?
Yeah, for real.
And then Jesselinda comes up and she's like, I finally found a Pokemon that matches my personality. I'm gonna catch it. And everyone's like, no, you're breaking the rules. What? And
it's like, I'll do what I want. And Dawn's like, well, that sounds kind of like Team Rocket, Brock. And then just leaves it at that.
That's all we get. And then as they like challenge her to a battle to leave this Luminion alone, she sends out Yanmega. So I'm like, oh, can you put these 2 and 2 together? No? Okay then. Yeah, they don't figure it out, and Conway's like, hey, don't worry, I'll battle for you, Dawn. And she's like, oh, alright. She sends out Slowbro against this Yanmega, and, oh, not Slowbro, Slowking, sorry. It just uses Protect, it's a quick battle, Water Pulse and Psychic basically take care of this Yanmega, and Jesse gets carried away by the rest of Team Rocket. And that kind of just wraps it up. They decide like, hey, we're gonna do our project about Luminion because it's a very interesting subject. They figure out that it comes to this lake because of a special seaweed that normally isn't in lakes. Like seaweed is usually in the ocean. So that's enough for them to give a good presentation about it. They go looking for Luminion underwater with Weasel and Ash, and they don't really see anything except that seaweed that Brock kind of points out. And as they go back, we just cut to them giving the presentation. And someone on this squad has incredible art skills because that Luminion sketch is amazing.
Yeah, clearly not Ash or Angie
Yeah.
because they were bashing on each other earlier.
What if they like called Tracy at the lab and they're like, "Hey, Tracy, we haven't seen you in like 5 seasons, but can you sketch this for us?"
That tracks. I'll accept that.
Right? um, and they talk about everything that happened this episode basically, and admit of that they left the lake. And Rowan's like, "Oh yeah, you guys get 10 points, but you also lose 4 points each because you broke the rules." And they're like, "Oh, all right." Conway and Jesse also lose points, but yeah, that's kind of it here. They are just talking about how, like, oh, it's still a fun time at summer camp together. The points don't matter. Like, none of the points, like, this doesn't do anything. Like, the whole thing about these 2 episodes is unclear. It's like, why Ash, Brock, and Dawn really decided to come here, like, what their motivation is.
Well, isn't it to just learn more about Pokemon or something? I don't know.
Right, as far as we know, Professor Rowan's like, this is for you guys to meet new Pokemon, other people and trainers, and just like mingle. It's like a social thing more than a competition, so that's why I find the whole points thing kind of weird. But it just drives the plot along, I guess. And here we kind of end up with them cleaning the classroom after hours because they broke the rules and made everyone really upset and worried about where they disappeared to, since they went to that cave. But that pretty much wraps up this episode. Up Close and Personable, episode 37 of Battle Dimension. Pengumon, what are your thoughts?
I think I'd give this episode a 7. Like, I still had the same general overall, like, it was fine. I enjoyed it. There were lots of cute moments, especially when they're frolicking in the sea with the with all the water Pokemon. I liked it slightly less because of the letdown that is Luminion, and also like creepy Conway. But other than that, it's just like a nice fluffy episode, which I personally enjoyed watching.
You had really high expectations for that light, didn't you?
I did, and I was really disappointed about it.
That's fair. Yeah. I also will give it a 7, which is higher than my last one, just because I kind of like the overall premise a bit more. We got a new Pokemon in a way that didn't feel forced, and also had like a, hey, let's explore nature and figure out what's going on vibe to it, which I always appreciate with Pokemon. And yeah, that's kind of it for me. There's a ton to talk about in these few filler episodes, but as Karina mentioned, it's just refreshing overall to kind of get something that's out of the way. Trivia for these 2 episodes: the teams are named after the original games, which are Red, Green, and Blue. The the reference for this episode title is Up Close and Personal, of course. And oh, this is an interesting one. So I mentioned Tracy before. Just some background. Do you want to explain who Tracy is real quick, Karina?
All I know about him is that he's in a previous gen and he draws.
Yeah, basically. He traveled around and he was the first person to replace Brock in the Orange Islands for a bit, and then he just decides to stay at Professor Oak's lab and become a Pokemon artist there. But Ash makes a sketch of Dugong, which is and he's the first main character to do so besides Tracy. So again, people remember Tracy here on Mobipedia. And yeah, this is just a part of the bigger Pokemon Summer Academy or just Pokemon Academy arc here in Sinnoh.
Okay, but surely the interesting tidbit about that fact is that Dugong was sketched twice. Because, like, how many Pokemon are being sketched by our characters here?
Yeah, that's true. So I guess this leads us to a question of the week. If there was a Pokemon that you could sketch really well, just like by nature or by talent, what Pokemon would it be?
Like, which one would I enjoy sketching?
Like
Or
if
like,
there's
which one do I think that I could actually draw?
what's a Pokemon that you think that you couldn't draw, but if you wish you had the ability to do so like instantly and super efficiently at, what would it be? So like for me, it would be something like Dialga, like a legendary that's very complicated to draw. And just to be able to do it like instantly would be super just like a thing I could say like, oh, look at me, like I can draw this really weird complex Pokemon super well.
Okay, well, mine's gotta be Empoleon, right? Because he's like a
Ooh.
complex penguin.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's got all these proportions, like oh, these big wings and a ton of stuff on its face and chest. That's a good one. So yeah, question of the week, just simple, keeping it simple like these 2 episodes. What's a cool Pokemon that you wish you could draw really well?
I'll also answer a question you didn't ask, which is which one I
Sure.
think I could actually draw, and that would be Ice Cube.
Oh, okay. Hey, did you draw the one that's on your Twitter profile?
No, I didn't. I
Oh,
found it on
okay.
somebody's Tumblr and asked if I could use it as my profile picture,
Oh,
and they said
nice.
yes. So yes,
Yeah,
I'm
Ice
not that
Cube's
talented.
yeah, Ice Cube's an interesting one, because it's like angular but also kind of soft at the same time, right?
It's a cube with a penguin body. Like I can't draw the
Mhm.
one that's as nice as the one on my like social
Mhm.
media, but I could like draw a cube with a body and call it an ice cube.
Yeah, it's definitely a doable one for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this week of Sights on Sinnoh. What any predictions of what might happen in the next few episodes of this intense summer arc at the Pokemon Academy?
Grimer is going to swallow Conway.
Good prediction. Good prediction. Honestly, what you said about Suicune upsets me more. That like they didn't bring it back because that episode is hot garbage. You can listen to me and I want to say his other name. Oh, Manny. Yeah, me and Manny talked about that. It was not a fun time. So this would have redeemed it so much more. But if you want to take a look at that or any future episodes that we have going on, feel free to subscribe down below and you get alerted when we put those up on YouTube's. And if you want to watch Pokemon TV with us, it is on mobile devices, it's on the web browser at watch.pokemon.com, and on the Switch, which I started using. And with the wireless headphones update, it's kind of nice to just play it in the background when I'm cooking or something and want to use my phone for something else. So, pro tip there. Karina, if people want to find you, where can they do that?
And Pengumon?
And I will be teasing both on Twitter and, of course, link down below. I've been Will.
And I'm Karina.
And we will catch you next week. See you in Sinnoh.
Bye.